Hey, welcome to the segment. We saw Krampus tonight. We're going to give our review of it. We're going to start off with spoiler-free, then get into spoilers. Now, typically, I don't like anything, and typically Kavan likes more things. We might be surprised on this one. Kavan, what do you think of this movie?
Well, it's Krampus, I think, isn't it?
Krampus?
Well, it's German, right?
Okay, so he's going with the Krampus is the original.
The Krampus or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
So, what did I think of it as a film? It was alright. It's not my bag, not my genre. I totally understand, why it was made, and there were some good things in it. For me personally, honestly, it wasn't. No, I wasn't big on it. I'll give it to you for a minute.
Well, I think it was exactly what you would think it would be.
Advertised.
Yeah, and they weren't trying to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like they weren't trying to do anything too out of the box. Really, it kind of had a movie, traditional holiday movie feel to it. In fact, we were thinking of kind of felt like Christmas Vacation movie, had some elements of that. The only criticism that I really would give it is that I feel like they didn't go hard enough to make it, since after watching it, it seems like it was intended for adults. And if it was intended for adults, they could have gone all the way.
Yeah, I think that's...
Which they didn't do.
Right.
And if they weren't going to go all the way, they could have just dialed back one or two things, and it could have been for kids or a family movie.
Well, that was part of what I was alluding to. I felt that it was, is it a PG-13? Yeah, but I think it would have been better as a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been really good as a horror film. Trouble is when you're trying to accommodate the younger crowd, and there was a couple of little kids in the audience, I don't know, that would spoil Christmas for me if they were my kids.
Yeah, there would have been a really easy way to use the same, dial back a couple of the costumes, but use the same kind of feel, the same characters, and make it appropriate for 7 and 8 year olds. In fact, I think of movies like from the 80s that I saw when I was real little, like The Never-Ending Story or like these real fanciful kind of things. I remember there was one like Tom Cruise was in, and that had really intense visuals. But it just wasn't to that next level where this was, and I feel like it could have been for the whole family, which I think might have made it better that way. Or if you're really going to have these intense visuals with blood and like really crazy stuff, and you're going to ruin Christmas for the little kids anyways, then let's start ripping some people apart.
Well, I think that was the biggest thing that was bothering me. I didn't know if I was watching a children's film or was it supposed to be a horror film.
And you really didn't know until the end.
Right, and if it was a comedy, it wasn't particularly funny. There was a couple of good little lines in there, but if it's going to be a comedy, then let's make it a little bit more comedic. If it's meant to be a horror film, and it's very hard to cross the genres, because black comedy can be funny, but kids not going to follow it. It's more of an adult thing. So I don't know. I think for me, I just couldn't get going with it. I like some of the characters. The writing was good. I thought, the way they approached it was good. The costumes were good. Some of the camera work, it wasn't my favorite, but it was...
It felt like kind of traditional camera work, though. It wasn't thank God it wasn't a found footage movie or something like that.
Exactly.
And I felt like it was filmed in a traditional way. The family dynamic was very traditional, and we're going to get into spoilers in about 30 seconds, I think, but... Before we do, they brought in like a Randy Quaid character.
I thought he was just like Randy Quaid.
Yeah, what was his name?
His real name?
Yeah, the actor.
David Koechner, and he played Howard.
He definitely was inspired by that.
Yeah.
The family dynamic, I thought, could have, they could have had maybe a little bit more fun with. I don't know, but it was definitely, kind of by the numbers in that way.
Right, well,
And then you're watching it, you're kind of thinking like, oh, that one's going to die, when they first start showing up.
The thing I think they should have done is done more of a Home Alone kind of, there's a lot going on, but it's not as vicious and bloody.
Yeah.
And that would have been more fun.
Yeah.
Or you go for the bloody stuff and you make it real adult and make it a little bit more horrific. But
well, let's grade it and then we'll go on to spoilers.
Yeah, I'm going to give it... and I'm being generous at this by saying 5 out of 10. So
okay, because that's right there in the middle, right in the middle,
and that's how I felt about it, right there in the middle.
And I'm going to give it like a B+. Really,
Holy cow.
Yeah, because you know what?
Woo!
I honestly think that this is going to be for a lot of people. Oh. This is going to be on television. It's going to be coming around every year. I think they've established something different and unique, and I think they're going to make money for years to come every Christmas season. Well,
I'm going to preface that before we go to the spoilers. I absolutely agree with you. I think it's going to become, for a person, a lot of 13 through 20 years old, this is going to be their go-to film. They're going to love it. It's going to be a classic. I don't see any problems with it. It's going to make a lot of money. I think it cost $15 million to make.
That's all?
Yeah. Wow. And it's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, they had
so they got it right. Yeah. I mean, I just think my only bone of contention was is it comedy, is it adult, or is it kids? And either way, if they'd done one or the other, would have been perfect.
Yeah, it was a little bit
misleading and
confusing, you know. But let's do spoilers, and then we can just open up.
Yeah.
One thing I thought that was interesting too, like now that we're into spoilers, was how
we're in spoilers.
How fast they started taking people out.
Yeah.
I was like, and they kind of. There wasn't a lot of alluding to things.
No.
It was like when Krampus showed up, he showed up, and stuff started happening. And in fact, one of the main things in the trailer, where she's under the truck, that was like towards the beginning. And I turned to Kevin and I'm like, dude, I thought this was like the end scene here. And they just start taking people out. But that also told me right away that they're not killing them.
Right.
As soon as they took the second kid, I'm like...
Well, you knew it was a dream at that point. Yeah. You're right. That's kind of how I felt about it, So...
Because they're not going to, like, kill babies.
No. That's what I thought. I mean, I like the idea it was based on a German folklore, so it's about... actually, he punishes children. That's what the character is about. And the German grandmother, that played the German grandmother, I thought she was really good in her role.
But the guy that did the captions for her, I think they kept. I think he kept
translation.
I think he didn't show up to work a few days because all of a sudden, half of the film she's speaking German and they have to say what she's saying, and the other half they're subtitling it. I thought that was kind of annoying.
Yeah, it was a little annoying.
I was noticing that. I mean, I'm just like, what happened to the subtitles?
Well, I can speak a little bit German, not much, so I was, where's the subtitles? But yeah, I thought overall it was cast well. The kids were meant to be annoying, and they bloody well were, so they got that right, I guess.
The two chunky kids, the three chunky kids, really, I was ready for them to go right away.
Oh, yeah.
They kept them around.
They did a little too long. And what about Conchata Ferrell, who played Auntie Dorothy,
Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah, I kind of liked her. She reminded me of...
the family dynamic was great in this movie. And in fact, if you really want to appreciate this movie more, watch Love the Coopers first. And then watch this movie. Because that might be what I'm going through too. Because that raised my grade on this movie. And I remember watching it about 10 minutes into it. And I'm like, man, these characters I care so much more about these people. They're so much more fleshed out. They make so much more sense. These are such better characters than Love the Coopers.
I totally agree. It's horrible to laugh at a film because we're not here to beat film. Yeah, we are. But
just Love the Coopers.
Just and Paul Blart. Mall Cop. But anyway, no, I thought the other thing is we're talking about spoilers. When you're trying to do comedy and horror together, it's very difficult. And they were doing all the jump scare.
Well, you know what what they were doing in this though, I wouldn't consider it comedy horror though because. The jokes were separate from. Well, they did have some funny kills, I guess, of the creatures.
Yeah,
there was a couple laughs in there when
just gingerbread man,
Yeah, there was some laughs in there.
And the dog, what was it?
Yeah, the dog was eating it. But I felt that it was a little. I don't know. It's a Christmas movie. You're talking about a real Christmas legend from Germany. If they just would have dialed back like two things. I mean, like for example, like that creature that eats the kids.
Yeah.
Right? And the mouth opens up and it's bloody. If the mouth hadn't been bloody, right? Just a couple little things, and if it would have ended better, and I came up with the most epic ending ever as I was watching it, and I can't believe they didn't do this. But if it would have had just a slightly different ending, it would have been a great kids film.
Well, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Gremlins,
Yeah, exactly. That kind of intense. Because I was thinking when I was watching it, I was like, oh, they're kind of being smart with this.
Right.
Until it got like way too intense. I was like, they're being smart with this because it does have that 80s feel. When they did give us some really kind of even Pee Wee Herman. You go back and watch like the Pee Wee Herman show today, you're like, that show was fucked up.
Yeah,
like it was there were some intense visuals.
Yeah, there was.
And we lived through a lot in the 80s. And but I'm like, that's kind of cool. They're doing that for kids again. But no, they kind of went a little bit extreme. I think like. Yeah, you don't want it.
Well, you wouldn't want your kids watching this film because I think it would destroy their whole image of Christmas.
Yeah, but the ending that I came up with, let's give my ending, and this would have saved the movie. This would have, saved the movie for children, and I think the adults would have loved it too, is when they open up the hole to hell or whatever, and they're about to toss people down, and he's like, no, take me instead, and Krampus doesn't give a crap. That was cool. That was like believable. I'm glad that he didn't give a crap. But I was waiting for it. Right there, you hear like little jingle bells in the distance, and then all of a sudden, Santa Claus comes in.
A big Santa Claus.
Yeah, like a buff-ass, like Santa Claus, like a cool-ass Santa Claus, and just starts getting in an epic fight with Krampus. And then like the elves jump out of the sleigh and start fighting the other elves, and just like start throwing them down the pit and stuff, and boom, and save the family. Because if Krampus was real, Santa Claus is real.
Where was Santa? Yeah, but Santa Claus is real. So I'm sorry, man. Yeah.
Spoilers. We're in the spoiler section. But, like that would have been epic. And I don't think that any adult in the room would have...
They would have cracked that.
They would have loved it, and it would have saved the movie for children.
Yeah, it was I think as a film there was a lot, the dog was not even in the shot and the next thing he eats them.
Yeah.
Where'd the dog come from, we didn't even stage him in there, So suddenly you just cut to a dog biting gingerbread. So there was a couple of things that were challenging, but, the acting was pretty good actually, some of the characters.
I thought that it was very well cast. If the kids were intended to be annoying, they were. I thought that I thought they should have taken one of the chubby kids and left his sister in it for longer. That surprised me. Yeah, because she was, seemed like she was going to be a main character.
Well, she started shooting the hell out of everything. It was. There was some parts of it. It was quite entertaining, and I did enjoy it. But I think the biggest thing that was holding me back enjoying it was I couldn't really figure out who the hell it was for.
Hell, I'm raising my grade to A-, but...
Wow! I'm at 5. 5 out of 10.
That's because I say again, though, even though they missed the mark on the kids, which I would have loved, and that would have been an A+, it would have been one of my favorite movies of the year if they had an epic Santa Claus battle at the end of it, just by surprise, too. If they would have left it out of the trailers, if they had the will to do that. But... I think that this movie's going to be around year after year after year. And we're going to be catching this movie on TBS in 10 years, 15 years, and that every teenager is going to have to see this
I think teenagers...
And that's what it's... I think that's what it's really for. We're trying to figure out if it's adult or child. You know what? It's for teenagers.
It is. I agree. I think that's where they really aimed it at.
It's perfect for them. They need a movie like this.
Did you know it was listed as one of the most anticipated movies of the year?
Really?
Yeah, and you got Star Wars and Bond and Krampus. Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think the 13 to 20-year-old that is a huge market.
They're gonna
they're gonna be screaming and laughing and
Christmas time.
They want that movie
at college campuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Booze and weed, and this movie's gonna be on, and they're gonna love it.
It's gonna have a big following,
and it's gonna be a little rite of passage too. You're gonna have the 16-year-old brother showing his 12-year-old brother the movie. And it's going to be
teasing him about Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's going to kind of be like your disillusion of Christmas. This is going to be your disillusion of Christmas movie. For every 12-year-old in America.
I'm glad you said that because there really wasn't much Christmas music in it either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There was a tad bit.
Just a tad.
It's all right. They started off with it.
And the fighting in the beginning of the film.
Yeah. I did that video actually a few years ago. I think they ripped me off. I did it's
Family Feud?
No, the fighting, the Black Friday with that same exact song. If you go to Modesto News Radio YouTube channel and you type in Black Friday on Modesto News Radio, you'll see that video, but in real life with people, Black Friday shoppers actually fighting. Yeah, with that same exact song. I'm like, wait a minute.
They stole it from you, buddy.
Yeah, I should get something.
Yeah. Get some rights on that one. So what would imagine that we're not going to get political here, but imagine so
we did get political though.
Yeah,
the movie.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say. Isn't it interesting how they poked a little bit there?
Just like Love the Coopers.
Oh, that's
except they did it
exactly.
better. I didn't get as pissed this time.
Yeah, I wasn't as pissed.
Yeah.
But then...
Because you know what? The guns did come in handy.
I was going to say...
Right?
Yeah. They needed those
But they had to
guns.
put little jabs as soon as they walk in the door. 6 hours of crazy talk radio. I'm like, oh, they're Republicans. Like, they're gonna go through that now.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But then you see, the guns weren't even the dangerous thing. It was the nail gun.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
They need to outlaw nail guns.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
spoons and forks, because, you know, we might hurt ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But I was just thinking about that film. If you'd have took the guns out, it wouldn't have been as cool.
Oh yeah, you need some guns always. And as soon as he said he had guns, I mean, like obviously those are going to come in handy. Thanks.
And he said, this gun's heavy. He goes, yeah, that's the worst.
But you know, and I think you mentioned. I don't know if you mentioned here yet, but you didn't mention off camera. Did you mention yet that you felt it was predictable?
Yeah, no, I didn't actually talk about that, but
Okay.
I thought it was very predictable.
See, I disagree because I didn't know. I really didn't know which way it was going to go until the very end. But I mean, as soon as he wakes up in his bed, then I know, you know,
right.
There's going to be a lot of little twist at the very end, and that's when I got disappointed because up until that final scene with Crumpet, you know, throwing the kids in the pit, I was like, come on, Santa Claus, let's do like that. The movie could have gone any number of ways at that point that would have been better than I think how it did end.
Yeah, I think that it, you know, even one of the...
Because I was getting confused because I knew they weren't killing the kids, but when they get the baby and they start getting like these, you know, kids, I'm like, they can't, you know, be killing kids in front of their parents in a movie, really. I mean, this isn't Schindler's List or something, you know? I mean, like, there's got to be some sort of twist at the end, and I hope it's Santa, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I think your idea actually would have been pretty cool.
That would have been awesome, just a badass Santa. Kind of like a, you know, he doesn't have to be buff, but like, you know, just like a weathered face, like a sailor, you know, just like, yeah.
And of course, when he wakes up in bed and then he suddenly falls out, oh, shut up.
Like, whatever.
Cliche.
Screw you.
Rubbish. Yeah.
I
think it was
still an A-.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give it 5 out of 10.
I think they were smart, brilliant with this movie. They made it for the right amount of money. They got the right actors. The actors were great. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, if we ever get into making movies, Kim, which we actually might, the thing to do is to make a Christmas movie that's going to stick around every Christmas. Yeah. Not like Love the Coopers, but like Krampus, because that's got to be where the money's at. I write music too. I think you probably write some music too, you mentioned, but the key to writing music, write some Christmas songs. Because if you can get a good Christmas song, they'll play it every year.
That's true.
And I think they're going to play this movie every year. They'll edit out some of the rough parts, and they're going to play this next year on basic cable.
No, I think you're right. I think it's going to be a classic. It'll be around for a long time.
It's like the only horror Christmas movie.
Yeah, I can think of. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think there's any other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
There's horror movies set around Christmas time, but this is like I mean, basically, it's like a teenage style Grinch type thing.
No, I think it was. I think it's a very accurate description. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to think of the series that did really well for them. Everybody says it's one of their favourite Christmas films, and it wasn't even really about Christmas. It was Bruce Willis.
Oh yeah, the Die Hard series.
Yeah, Die Hard series.
Exactly.
And people relate that as a Christmas film.
That's just guys just trying to get their wives to turn it on during Christmas.
I know, but isn't it weird how every year that's on?
Yeah, exactly. If you set it during Christmas, that's the way to do it.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're gonna.
I think this movie was made by some smart people who want to make money for years to come.
Yeah, and I think the concept was brilliant.
Yeah,
I do. I just and maybe like you
said,
just
a couple tweaks.
Yeah,
a couple tweaks. It would have been masterful. We're available for hire. You can get in touch with us.
Yes. Before you air your film, let us check it out.
And send us a message on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Blue Number Media. And anything else to add?
No, I think we're good to go. I think that was. I think we summed up everything that I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think this is like the first time. Is this the first time I've liked a movie more than you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I usually hate everything.
But you know, the one thing I kind of took of that movie was be careful what you wish for. Oh, there you go.
Well, that's the other thing too. There wasn't it didn't really have a moral. I mean, be careful what you wish for, I guess. But I felt like they could have had a little bit more of a reason, a message to it. But I think that would have been if it was for a family film. So they didn't need a message because it's for teenagers. But if they would have added a message in a Santa Claus fight, this would have been the best movie.
You can hear all the girls screaming watching that film already.
Yeah. But anyways, go ahead and subscribe to us on Blue Number Media here on YouTube. We did a first fan reviews, which is the video before this one where we talked to some movie fans that saw the movie. We do this every week. We got some great stuff coming up. Speaking of Christmas, this weekend we're going to have a special Christmas parade video coming up where Kivan from here and Brian Perry from the Delicious Hit series, they're going to team up and host the parade. We are. Yeah. And then what are we got some more things coming up, so keep checking the channel. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Well, thanks for talking, Kivan. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Happy holidays.